Welcome back everyone to Gotham Legacy. Hope you all are having a wonderful day. In today's video, we'll be talking about underrated Batman comics. So we all know iconic comics such as Batman Year One. You have Batman Returns by Frank Miller. You also have Nightfall, No Man's Land. These are all well-known stories. And Batman has, 80 years of amazing comics. I do kind of get overlooked just because, one, they're kind of short, or, they're mostly overshadowed by the brilliance of other comics. But these are also a fantastic option. If you're someone who is looking to read more Batman comics, I highly implore you guys to check these out. Let's start with number 1. So the first comic on my list is going to be Batman Night of Vengeance. This comic is written by Brian Azzarello and it's drawn by Eduardo Rizzo, and it's a very, very interesting comic. So this comic, you do not see Bruce as Batman, you actually see his father, Thomas Wayne. And let me tell you, if you have no idea who Thomas Wayne Batman is or Flashpoint Batman is, I highly recommend you guys watch Flashpoint Paradox, the DC animated movie. It's a fantastic movie. And even a good comic too by Jeff Johns. Fantastic adaptation. But this comic by Brian Azzarello, oh my god, you're gonna fall in love with Thomas Wayne. This guy is a mixture between Red Hood and Batman. Like, if you are the type of person who wants to see Batman like just off criminals, he doesn't care about criminals, he just wants all scum on earth to be dead, this is your Batman. He's a complete, Stone Cold Steve Austin badass type of guy. He's super cool, man. A brief synopsis of what this comic is about is it's basically Thomas Wayne Batman trying to save and find Harvey Dent's 2 children who are kidnapped by the Joker. Now this comic is super interesting. Let me tell you, usually we see the whole Bat family, the whole Bat mythos has changed in this universe. When you're expecting Oracle, guess who you find? You find someone else, someone who I wouldn't even think about, to be honest. And Jim is in the story, and you as a reader are like, if I heard that Thomas Wayne is Batman, I'm wondering, is Alfred in this universe, or who is going to be Alfred for that Batman? Who's going to handle this crazy old guy? Well, in the first issue, you find out that's Penguin. Penguin is, Flashpoint Batman's Alfred, and it's amazing. I can go on and on about the story, but I'm afraid I'm going to spoil something. You guys have to read it. It is phenomenal. It's fantastic. Give it a go, guys. You won't regret it. The next comic I recommend is Batman Night Cries by Archie Goodwin and Scott Hampton. This comic, I do have to give a little bit of a warning. It is extremely dark. I think this is the darkest Batman comic of all time. And it's because it has to do with crimes against children. So if you are sensitive about that issue, I don't recommend you guys read this. It's not graphic by any means. Like, you're not going to see, pages of children getting abused or any of that sort. It is referenced in the book, but you're not going to see anything. The imagination is worse. We as humans imagine things way worse. But this is a beautiful book to look at. The illustrations by Scott Hampton here is phenomenal. And it reminds me of Vincent Van Gogh's, Starry Night. Like that, the whole painting, it's not like Alex Ross paint style, but it does have a very painting, illusionary kind of style to it. It looks amazing. It really does fit the book. And I recommend this book for people who are not interested in, Joker, Two-Face, or any of the Rogues Gallery, but they're interested as Gotham as a character by itself, because this is a very, Gotham is a dark place type of comic, and you understand why Batman is dark in this story, or why Batman even wears the cowl in the first place, because he has to. This is a dark place, and there has to be a symbol of hope, and that hope is obviously Batman. Definitely give it a go and let me know if you would even recommend this book or not. But I do think it is underrated, and I do think it is a good story. The next book I would recommend is Batman One Dark Knight, which is written and illustrated by Jock. And for those who don't know who Jock is, he has illustrated perhaps the best, the #1 Batman book of all time, Black Mirror. And if you do not know Batman Black Mirror, it is I keep on saying fantastic. I gotta come up with different adjectives. It is, a 5-star book, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. And a lot of hardcore Batman fans will agree. It is a fantastic book that's written by Scott Snyder, and Jock does a phenomenal job illustrating it. So this book, you're gonna get beautiful illustrations, you're gonna get beautiful art, but a very interesting tale. The story for this comic book is all about what if Batman has no tech at all. Let's say he's stranded in Gotham City. There's a freaking blackout. His car doesn't work. He has limited supplies on his utility belt. How is Batman going to survive for 24 hours? That's the basic plot line of this book. And if you are a fan of a grounded version of Batman who is not very tech heavy, you're going to enjoy this book. Please give it a go and let me know if you really like it, because personally I think it's fantastic. And if you're disappointed by the story, let me tell you, you're not going to be disappointed by the art. The art is worth the price of the book by itself. So give it a go and let me know. My next recommendation is actually going to be 2 comics, because it's about Two-Face. See what I did there, I'm sorry, please don't leave. But I have both these books about Two-Face is awesome because it's from the legendary series creator Paul Dini and Bruce Timm. Paul Dini and Bruce Timm have really re-innovated the origin of Harvey Dent or Two-Face. If you haven't seen the episode from Batman the Animated Series, please watch it. It's worth it. Even Batman the Animated Series, I'm not going to go on for this for too long, but Batman the Animated Series is not just a kids show. You can watch it as an adult. It's fantastic. It's for everyone. Regardless, to get back to the comic, the first comic is Two of a Kind, which is written by Bruce Timm. And this comic takes elements from Batman Dark Knight Returns from Frank Miller. Especially the aspect of what Two-Face getting his face cured, but in a twist. I'm not going to go into what the twist is because it is going to spoil the story, but it's short, it's sweet, and I think you can read this for free on Amazon. It's like $0. It's Batman Black and White. Phenomenal series, especially this comic, Two of a Kind. Search it up, read it, you won't regret it. The second Two-Face book is called Two-Timer, and it's written by Paul Dini and it's illustrated by Ty Templeton. It's part of the Batman and Robin Adventures comic book, which is based on the animated series. And it's interesting because I was watching a video from the Watchtower database, which fantastic job of what they do. Huge shout out to them. But apparently this comic, this 2-issue storyline was supposed to be a movie. And Paul Dini really liked the script, but unfortunately, obviously, they couldn't make it into a movie, so he put it in a comic book format. And let me tell you, if you are a fan of The Dark Knight, the movie by Christopher Nolan, and you loved how the Joker and Harvey Dent's relationship is, you're going to enjoy this book. Because let me tell you, this book reminded me of The Dark Knight, and it was fantastic, guys. I highly recommend you guys give it a go. I'm not going to spoil anything, but please check it out. You will not be disappointed. And if you're a fan of Batman the Animated Series, you should read this anyways because it's literally Paul Dini. I mean, the guy is awesome. My next comic book recommendation is going to be Batman War on Crime, which is written by Paul Dini again, but this time it's illustrated by Alex Ross. And if you are not a comic book fan and you've never heard of Alex Ross, his art is amazing. I mean, just search it up on Google and see his artwork. It's fantastic. I mean, it blows my mind how this guy, you're going to be reading and you're going to think like this is a comic book. Like, I thought comic books uses panels. Alex Ross uses very minimal panels, and it's literally a piece of art. Just read it, guys. But this comic book I really recommend if you want to understand who Batman is. Many times we see portrayals of Batman as just, it's all about the mission. I have to do this, I have to do that. But in its core, Batman is like any other superhero. He has compassion. He cares. He has empathy. He really cares about the city. Otherwise, why on earth would he be breaking his body day in, day out, protecting a city that has no hope? So this comic book is more of a character study on who Batman is. If you are a Batman fan, I highly recommend you guys read it. If you are not a Batman fan and you want to know who Batman really is, definitely check this book out because it does a great job explaining who Batman really is. My next comic book recommendation is actually by Peter J. Tomasi and Doug Mahnke, and that is Detective Comics Mythology. This is Peter J. Tomasi's first, I guess you could say, storyline for Detective Comics, and I really recommend this for people who want to understand why Batman does what he does. So going back on War of Crime, that comic is good for understanding who Batman is. Mythology is a good comic book to understand why Batman doesn't give up, why he does so much for his city, why he has this thought process of I have to do it because no one else can. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to go into details because I'm afraid I'm going to say something. Definitely check it out, or at the very least, just read a synopsis of this, and you're going to be hooked. The first issue by itself it had me hooked, and I read it in one sitting. Highly recommend it. Please check it out and let me know how you feel about it. The next and final recommendation for my list of underrated Batman comics is Batman the Imposter. So this comic is written by Mattson Tomlin, and the art is done by Andre Sorrentino. Now, Mattson Tomlin was actually an assistant, I think, screenwriter for The Batman by Matt Reeves. So he actually was part of the Batman movie. And this comic book really, and it makes sense why he worked with this comic and why this comic feels like a version of Robert Pattinson's Batman. Very similar. It is like early into Batman's career, this comic book. It is an Elseworld comic book, so there isn't, some characters are missing, and they're kind of explained why they're missing. It's a different take on Batman. And if you're someone who wants a comic version of Robert Pattinson, I highly recommend you guys read this book. You're not going to be disappointed. If you were a fan of Matt Reeves' The Batman, you're going to love this book. I dare say, you're going to say Batman the Imposter is your favorite book of all time. If for you, The Batman by Matt Reeves is the #1 Batman movie of all time, Batman the Imposter is going to be the #1 comic book for you because it's so similar. The art by Andre Sorrentino, man. I mean, I can't praise it highly enough. It looks amazing. Definitely check it out, guys. I can't say anything else. I wish I could talk more about the story, but like I said, spoilers. But you're not going to be disappointed. I can't speak highly of this book. And with that, guys, that concludes my list. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you guys want me to talk more in depth about any of these comic books, do let me know in the comment section below. I would love to just talk about the books in general, give my ideas with spoilers and everything. And I appreciate every single one of you who took your time out of your day to watch this video. And please let me know in the comment section below, what would you like me to do next? Or how could I improve this video? I appreciate you all. You guys have a wonderful day and know that you guys matter. Thank you so much.